All right. So, with Lizard Army in the game again, we see double greed out of SSP and Aviator, excuse me, going back to the classic situation that is double greed setup. We see a YOLO out of Julian. And Cartel out of Penny. You know, I've seen worse YOLO rolls in my day. Honestly, cannot complain too much for Julian's YOLO roll here. He's got a couple different options for starters, right? With Allowance and Lizard Army in the game again, do we see a fake Lizard Army come out yet again? So we see, actually, technically speaking, pretty risky starts out of both Penny and Julian here. Relatively speaking, pretty safe starts in SSP and Aviator. Both SSP and Aviator taking the Nightmare route. A little interesting to me, we only see SSP being the one with the Nightmare Butcher. We see Aviator with Nightmare Golem, which is, in its own right, a relatively speaking decent option. Not nearly as powerful, but at a certain point, a little bit more consistent because you don't have to worry about some of the ticky-tacky stuff you got to deal with, right? Penny opting for the Flying Force setup with the Tempest, opting instead of a Windhawk to go for a Wild Shroom. We see the Snail coming in to Julian here, and Julian having practiced the arts of deception, gone for a Infiltrator here. Easily holds here. We see a Brute and a Lizard coming out of Julian and Penny. The Brute going into the Nightmare and the Wild Shroom. Aviator going for the Proton setup into an Atom. I'm curious to see if either will hold here, to be frank. I think this is going to be a leak out of both. The Brute out of Julian is a rather disgusting act. %50 leak out of SSP. That's actually quite sad. So the leak here early gives quite a bit of gold and pressure over to Julian and Penny. But SSP and Aviator pushing to 6 and 7 workers respectively. So I guess this is the trade-off you get, right? You are trading your King's Health early game and your value early game for realistically just a ton of worker and worker pressure. Though, with the income send here into both Penny and Julian, you're able to, relatively speaking, go pretty high worker push. As you see, Penny going for an 8 worker, and Julian still sitting at 7. And they get a large send here in double brute, a brute apiece and a snail apiece. Not double brute. That would be much different. There is not going to be any additional send, though Aviator is opting for a income send here, and it looks like to get the hardened Mudman. Aviator, because he hardened a Mudman, he potentially is going to be weak now next. The Brute getting sniped by SSP, making for a little bit closer of a hold situation. SSP going to very close. Very, very close, but does end up leaking. Penny not getting Aviator, though, as I said, Aviator not able to push. Not able to push here due to the fact that he hardened a Mudman to hold last wave. Even with a hold on this last wave, he is now liable to leak again to a resend, right? So, Penny, taking note of that, is resending a snail, but not going to be enough. With the added Nightmare, I do not believe this will be enough. Oh, I did not even see. That was an after income Brute that he dropped. After income Brute might be enough to be able to get through here. Penny getting that after income Brute, though, oof, that Adam staying alive just barely. Not going to make the biggest of difference. I think he full held regardless. Aviator doing a smart play there and not over pushing with your dehardened Mudman and Nightmare. I think that can be very, very problematic, especially early game. If you're hardening a Mudman to hold, likelihood is you need to prepare then in turn for a leak on another coming wave, right? If you're hardening, let's say, on 8, you need to then prepare something on 9, whether that be the Doppel upgrade or what have you. We do see, relatively speaking, large sends, income-wise, of a Cannoneer and a Drake. Aviator push really hard. Really, really hard with the setup that he has now. The Cannoneer is going to do good damage into everything aside from the Deep Coiler. The Sandworm Deep Coiler doing a good job of just tanking all those pesky Cannoneer shots. And I don't know if the Drake is going to leak Julian here. The Drake is going to be really close, to be honest. That extra spell getting used on a blob and rather than the Drake, I think, is the deciding factor there. I'm curious to see now, though. Penny does go 11 worker. They are income sending again into Mod Abuse. Fiend into Penny. Quad Snails into Julian. We do see the steeds dropped now. So we're going to show now to Aviator and SSP that Julian, once again, has a disgusting role in the Steed Disciple. It looks like Penny is going to hold. It's going to be, relatively speaking, pretty close, though. Putting the canopy pretty low. Julian does end up leaking 42%. The canopy does end up passing away, sadly, in the disgusting sends that were the octa snail. A 4 eyes coming out of Julian here. Well, chat, this is one way to BM your opponents early on in the game. Send a 4 eyes on 9 into what happens to just be a head chef. So it's going to kind of come down to what gets aggroed first. It does look like the head chef is the one getting beaten down by the 4 eyes. Yeah, that's going to be a big leak. Yikes. I don't know if it will be king damage just due to the fact that SSP leaks large, but Aviator has a hardened golem and is holding. Right? Like that I think is a pretty big distinction. Though the team mod abuse is going to get a little bit of gold here. We'll see. They're at 27 and 28 respectively. So we'll see their gold gain from leak kind of jump pretty hard. Penny at 15 workers now on that cartel. Pushed extremely hard. We are going to see the 4 eyes make it down to king, but it does look like it will die within 1 or 2 hits. One hit there. At the end of the day, though, the big thing here, difference, is just gold. We do see Penny choosing for a resend here into Aviator. I think the biggest thing here is that at the end of the day, so long as you can delay the Doppel, right, from dealing damage to the boss, there is a good chance that you can stop the boss from dying. Or stop your boss from getting killed. That being said, in this situation, the Doppel was the last thing alive, realistically, so I think it's going to full hold. Yes, it does full hold. We are going to see potentially another fake lizard army. I'm waiting to see it. Waiting to see it. Come on, guys. I know you want to do it. I know you want a fake lizard army again. Come on. No? Oh, okay. Well, it looks like no fake lizard armies here, sadly. So, my day is ruined. And my disappointment is immeasurable. I am now sad. That being said, Julian and SSP opting for the Guardian Angel, right? Which I think makes the most sense if you look at the Doppel. Doppel getting the Guardian Angel, especially with healing, is a pretty good idea. I'm curious to see what Julian will end up dropping his Guardian Angel on. seeing that he doesn't really have a whole lot going for him. I guess the Lioness kind of makes sense. You're getting some decent value out of the gold, right? Because of the protection advantages that are afforded to you with a Lioness. It is at least a nice skinned Obsidian Lioness at that. Penny ended up getting a Radiant Halo Leviathan setup with Boar. So Penny is in fact disgusting. I don't see him leaking many waves at this point. You can make an argument for a couple waves, such as like 16. But not too many that I'm really that scared about if I am Julian or Penny at this point. We do see some sends coming out here of Aviator and SSP on wave 13. Penny and Julian feel no need to send. And Julian and Penny feeling pretty strong with the no sends. I would probably argue that they have good reason to feel pretty strong with the Arc of Justice coming out here. But I really don't see too much of a worry. Julian might leak solely due to the fact that there's quite a lot of spam to delay his damage from hitting the tank, the actual main wave. Though none of the spam is given to Penny to slow down the Halo, because realistically the Boar stops most of the spam from really posing much of an issue. We do see, though, what looks to be a, relatively speaking, really large leak out of Julian. Going to be 4 creeps and a pretty small leak out of Penny. Looking now more and more, I'm interested to see how Julian would have fared had he, instead of going for the Guardian Angel here, went something along the lines of Allowance. But I digress. I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. We do see the Overbuild and Starve out of Penny and Julian yet again. They went for a 9 send into a 10 resend on Penny into a long save. Aviator and SSP both sending again here. King ups after income sends. So it looks like they are going to try to counteract the long save now with income and king, which I don't think is necessarily the wrong play. It's just going to be interesting on when Julian and Penny, or what Julian and Penny want to send. We see the Ocean Templar lined up next to a Soul Gate, or Hellgate I should say, and double canopy. So the question is, do Penny and Julian feel the need to send here, or do they want to go 16 or 17? We do see Penny sending with a Shaman. A Pro Leak coming out of Julian, of course, always. Always Pro Leaks out of Julian. Though he might need to see a doctor if he keeps this one up. I do not believe it's normal to leak all these times. Double 4 eyes. A Shaman and a 4 eyes coming out of Penny. So we'll see Aviator going for the Harden here. I think had Julian not leaked this wave, last wave 14, there was a potential for a longer save here. But I think Julian and Penny both leaking, kind of, Penny holding, but Julian leaking kind of pushes that idea out the window, especially due to the fact that Aviator does have some workers and can resend a moderate amount again. We see double 4-eyes here out of Julian into the setup of SSP. The Doppel with Guardian Angel died, relatively speaking, quickly, given that it got targeted, I'd say, the first or second unit out the gate. Julian leaking pretty hard here, 50%, but Penny holding should be enough to give them the win. That's going to be 3 4-eyes making it to King, 2 mostly full bosses, and a shaman. Even with King full, I do not believe the King has the power nor the means to hold this one. It looks like our series is going to go 2-1, excuse me, 2-1 in the side of Mod Abuse. 2-1 in the side of Mod Abuse. That was a pretty overall good game. Good series. I think after how good Aviator and SSP played initially, I did not anticipate, did not expect to go into this one and see the reverse sweep. This is fine taking game 1 and then jumping into it and losing the next 2, I think really is kind of surprising. As you can see here, the first loss and then 2 wins back to back. Julian doing a great job in all 3 games. Penny playing a good part. All around, a pretty good game.